Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore-Honda of Bloomington.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Fires upfield into the end zone. It is caught. Jelani Woods, touchdown, INDY! A 43-point night for Tyrese Halliburton.
How do you like that, partner?
Renew now, drives in low, throws up a shot. It doesn't go. Tipped up and in by Anthony Leal. Indiana takes the lead.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard and welcome back on this Thursday as we're cruising through the week here in this first week of August. Appreciate you being with us no matter how and where you're listening. Our good friends down on the river on 97.7 ESPN, the Ref, always the right call. Up in the region, the voice of the region, 12:30 a.m., 104.7 FM, WJOB, and across in Fort Wayne on Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Make sure you keep it tuned right here to each and every one of those, especially on 1380, right after Indiana Sports Beat Radio. You've got the Sports Rush, so keep it locked right here. How is your week going? The heat finally subsided last night. Late last night was actually incredible, especially after that heating oven we were in the day before. My, oh my, that was a warm one. We're getting closer to the weekend, of course, and closer to the end of the Olympics for those of you that are big Olympics fans. We've had a certainly a healthy menu of events. USA is doing obviously very, very well in the medal count, gold medal count, all of the above. Quiet time in I guess you'd call it mainstream sports as the college football season. It's closer to beginning than you can imagine. It's 3 weeks from this Saturday. Wrap your mind around that. 3 weeks. It's crazy. So 3 weeks, you might want to start practicing. Get your grill out on Saturday. Start throwing some brats on there, some dogs. You got to get the old touchback if you haven't been doing anything, and you got to practice planning, practice getting your spot, all that good stuff. And I think there's going to be a lot to be celebrating by those fans out there this year. But it's going to be interesting to see if there's a bump in the people, and because it's about the people, right? Hey, let me go ahead. On the program today, Coach Shannon Griffith joining us, of course, and Bob Kravitz, the man from bobkravitz.com. See if we've got anything else lined up, but I'm going to go ahead and bring Coach Griff in a little early right now. He doesn't realize that we started late, but that's okay. So we can just get a double dose.
That's right.
Every time I see you, it's just like it's just looking a little. Are you opening up a dance club?
No, I redoing my back wall so I can have a little bit of ambiance. I see I got my sign finally up, but because I blur my background, you can't see that on air like you. So I'm trying to be you is what I'm trying to do.
That is not the right way to go in life, son. Drunk, fat, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Well,
a little Animal House for you.
That's right.
So just throw a little something in, a little something. How's your week been, brother?
It's been going. It's been a little crazy, but we're inching closer to the start of football season, whether it's high school or college, NFL, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, I was just talking about that. We are, from this Saturday, 3 weeks.
I know.
3 weeks. That's just that's week one. There are games. That means we're 2 weeks away from games. There are a handful of games in week 0. That's Boy,
Yeah, I know. I
you
don't
get some
understand why
creative-
they call it zero, but
created jackasses is what I call it. But yeah, so we're 2 weeks away from college football from this Saturday, but 3 weeks from most of the other teams.
yeah, I believe you got the Ireland game. I think that's part of week 0, as they call
the
it.
Irish. Oh, the Ireland game.
Which is always a nice venue for kids to go over and experience a game overseas and fan base. So I think that's a unique experience. So I always look forward to that game. And then, of course, yeah, you get that warm up of getting yourself acclimated to the channel clicker again and how I set up the 4 screens on my TV so I can watch 4 games at one time and pick out the games that I'm going to watch. So it gets you acclimated to the start of college football so that you're ready to go when week 1 truly arrives. But why they call that week 0 is beyond me. But hey, we live with it.
Well, I heard that week 1 was already taken. But
yeah, you're on it today, boy.
Tell me, baby, and I haven't even had no coffee. That's without coffee. That's for free. Those are freebies. Those are freebies, baby. Appreciate everybody being on the Andy Moore Honda hotline as well. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see.
Plus we're going to have finally get into some pads down in Bloomington. This week that they call practice. You got those 4 days of acclimation or whatever they call it, and you're running around in your underwear. They finally got to what we call shells, which is another step towards the full pads. And I now think you'll start to see a little bit more evaluation taking place of the roster and who some of these young kids that may be able to step into positions on the field as backups maybe, and get an overall sense what we got down in Bloomington.
Yeah. Oh man, I made the bet the other day. You weren't on with us, when I was at French Lick, so I'm like, well, I'm here. They've got one of those what you call sports books.
Oh yeah,
I've heard about them.
Yeah, I heard about them
too. But I'm like, okay, this over under wins total, it's too delicious to me. It's sometimes there are bets that make you're like, oh, okay, I hope that this happens. It's very rarely where I feel like, oh my God, I can't pass that up.
Yeah.
That's how I feel at 5.5 wins for the over and under for Indiana. I think that is made for Indiana people that if you're listening to me, I'm telling you, I'd make that bet. There's too many people that outside that are still viewing Indiana as Indiana because they haven't seen any different. It makes sense. I get it. Why would you? This team last year was 1-8 in the Big Ten, but this is not that team by any stretch of the imagination. Half of the players, at least, are gone, if not more than half. As far as scholarship players, impact players, virtually 80%.
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not that team. This is not that staff. There's just so much. Yeah, there's just so many different things. The schedule for me plays into it heavily. I look at that. I'm like, you're telling me that what I feel pretty confident about what Cignetti has going on, that they're not going to find 6 wins out of there, and you're starting with 3 in the non-con. There's no way they're losing any of those non-con games. None.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they'd have to lose to UCLA, lose to Maryland at home, lose to Northwestern, lose to Nebraska and Washington at home, lose at Michigan State, and lose to Purdue, the easiest games on their schedule. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. Okay, let's say they lose half of those. You're still at 6 wins.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a logical conclusion with the schedule. The one on there that, that they play in that first half, a game that they're going to have to win. Like you said, it's a home game, is Maryland, who is going to be a very, very good football team. Mike Loxley's got his roster up to what he feels is a Big Ten caliber team. And they got a defense coming back that played lights out last year. They just turned the ball over too much on offense to really make a move to the upper echelon, but they still accomplished what they needed to accomplish last year. I respect Phil Steele's publication where he evaluates all the college football Power Fives and mid-major type of teams. And out of all the quote unquote gurus, he actually had Indiana picked 12th in the Big Ten. I mean, that was the highest pick of any writer or, guru, so to speak, that, had the Hoosiers there. And he sees a definite jump in productivity on offense with averaging about 30 points a game. And on defense, cutting a defense from last year that was giving up over 31 points, knocking that down by 8 points to only giving up about 23 points a game. So I think he reads the tea leaves a little better than some, to get by the overall stigma of this is Indiana. And now he still picks them at 6-6. But I think it was an interesting rundown of everything from A to Z on Indiana, and probably as good as anyone that I've seen thus far in terms of the depth that he went into with everything, or does go into everything. You can get that all on the his publication.
Yeah, either way, it's going to be a fun season, no doubt. I have said repeatedly, bowl eligibility for this team to me is no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. But that doesn't mean I know Jack. I look at this schedule, like I said, and knowing what I know about these other teams, I just don't. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good with my bet.
Yeah, I would say that's one that probability wise is very high in terms of successful bet getting your money back, at least, if not more. So, yeah, I think it's a schedule built. We've talked about it for them. And again, we're beyond the talk and theory and all of that. It's time that Coach Sig and his staff put things into motion and the talk is over. Got to go play. They've got a camp in front of them that I do think they've got to solidify some things before coming out of camp. There's little details that have to be addressed and taken care of. You've got the new helmet communication system that goes into play that allows the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator to talk to their respective on-field, I call them coaches, such as the quarterback and a linebacker. You get 15 seconds to make the call. So you cannot, have a lot of verbiage or over talking in that concept because 15 seconds will go by real quick. So they got to have that nailed down prior to the game one, because you do not want to have issues with that heading into week one. They've got to find some depth at positions where maybe a young guy is going to step in and provide that depth, especially on defense. I talked to Brian Haynes prior to camp, and he felt good with the crew that he had, would like a little bit more depth, but he's excited to see a youngin come in and see what they can do to help solidify that depth. So those are a couple things off the top of my head that comes to mind when I talk about camp. And I got a show tonight at 7 and go through the fall camp mindset.
Yeah, Wyatt. So he tailed my bet at French Lick. So there we go. Good man.
There you go. Yeah, you're gonna now have to have a bet segment on Sports Beat Radio.
We'll do when we get there. We're not that far away. I guess we will. We will do just that. The big question is, how far along can Sig and company get this offense in sync? Because they've only been here since last December. So you had all of that, but you had spring ball, and which you could. They did okay, but that was a long time ago. They put a lot more work in between then and now. But you've got a new offense with a new quarterback still. So even though Curtis Rourke has played a ton of football, he has not played this system. So he's got a lot of work to do, probably more than most. Obviously, is the quarterback.
Both him and Taven,
it's
for
funny
that matter.
How being a quarterback is like being the quarterback of football.
Absolutely right.
But getting that offense in sync, playing Florida International is great. Playing Western Illinois is great because it gives them a couple of games to work out the kinks before they go to Los Angeles to take on UCLA. UCLA gets one game to play. And that's a game that they travel to Hawaii. No.
Yep.
Yes, it is. They travel to Hawaii.
So,
but Indiana should be further along. But I think UCLA has a bye week though, don't they?
As far Indiana has the bye before UCLA, or no?
UCLA. I was wondering if UCLA had a bye week.
Well, no, I don't. I don't think they play a true week 1. I think their bye's that week. So they actually kick off week 2, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember.
I don't remember. But either way, they're not. They're traveling to Hawaii, which from Los Angeles, rather. That's not as much the trip, but I think it's still an 8-hour flight. I think, right?
It's somewhere in that neighborhood of 6, 7, I don't know, but I've never made that trip. But anyway, it's not going to be as taxing as somebody coming from the Midwest or the East Coast to going to Hawaii to play, where it's now you're looking at a 14-15 hour flight on top of that. But as far as that's one thing that I'll talk about tonight is offensively, they've got to have the quarterbacks and the wide receivers all on the same page, and they all got to have the rhythm down, or what I call the clock of the quarterback in their mindset as wide receivers. But as you looked at in that spring game, there was still some hesitancy at times, not knowing what maybe somebody was going to do, or when they were going to break out of a route, or, when they needed to cut off a route because it was a blitz. That's one thing as an offense. They do have to come out of camp with that group being on the same page, and Curtis Rourke and Taven, for that matter, having a pretty good feel of the guys that are running routes and knowing when they can, get the ball out of their hands and things of that magnitude, which, I do think that they've had all summer to work on that. There's no doubt in my mind they've taken that, seriously as a group. Because if there's one group on the field for Indiana, their wide receiver room is going to be one of the best in the Big Ten, in my opinion. So I do think Curtis and Taven, for that matter, will have that, in sync mindset with them offensively. And the other thing that you talked about that's right as well, Jim, is Shanahan has to come out of fall camp understanding what this offense can and cannot handle in terms of what he's going to do schematically. I'm sure he came out of spring with an idea. He expanded on it. And then as fall camp arrives now, he's going to have these practices leading up to their preparation week of having a understanding what these kids can and cannot do as a unit. And that also is a critical component, so that when you get into game one, you're putting your kids in the best position to have success, and you're finding ways to get the ball in the hands of your talent. All those things, you have to come prepared to do week one. And, Florida International may be a non-conference game, but they're going to have a significant number of players at back. And offensively, they're very exotic. David Yost, who I know pretty well from my days in the MAC, is a really good offensive mind. And that game, for a first game, I do believe will be a big test on a lot of fronts, even though I think the Vegas odds has them as 3-point favorite or 3 touchdown favorites, if I'm not mistaken.
Indiana,
IU, that is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine. It's hard to predict that when you first game to imagine you're that much in sync, but it's also the opponent on that as well. Hey, we've got lots more to talk about. The defense is a worry for some. We'll talk about that on the other side, and the Big Ten in general, as football season is almost upon us, man. I cannot wait. We're going to be doing some stuff out at Upland, so looking forward to that. And with Upland, I believe we'll be doing a pregame tailgate show and just having some fun. So that's why you got to get down here, man. You got to get down to the games. We've got lots more coming up as well. Coach Shannon Griffith is with us, back with more right after this.
In the market for a new or used vehicle? Well, nobody beats the prices and selection of Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. Right now, get a brand new Honda with no payments for 90 days. That's right, 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment-free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in you getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty at Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com.
Looking for someone to cater your next corporate event, family reunion, or tailgate? To some, a garnish may be nothing more than just a decoration put last on a plate. But in Bloomington, catering starts with Garnish Catering. Serving all of Bloomington and surrounding areas, Garnish Catering is waiting to help make your next event one to remember. Planning a great event shouldn't have to be stressful. Whether we quote you just for catering or a total event package, you can trust that you're making the right choice with Garnish Catering. Visit garnishcatering.com. That's garnishcatering.com. Garnish Catering is a proud partner of WOW Food Group.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf Community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com. That's mystonecrestliving.com for more details.
Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse, from hearty proteins to fresh salads. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo code RADIO20 and get $20 off of your first order.
This segment is brought to you by the Rusty Gator.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, on this Thursday as we are sliding through the first week of August and into the heater. But somebody finally turned the heater down last night, baby. The oven went off. Wow, it was brutal the day before, but last night was back to that old July weather we had, which I miss so much and look forward to. Coach Shannon Griffith is with us talking some football, the Big Ten. Even with 4 new additions, man, they just don't have a lot at the top. For having 18 teams, the top is a lonely place to be in the Big Ten. You've got Ohio State, you've got Oregon, Michigan's a little bit of a question mark right now, Penn State, and then, I mean, actually, it's Oregon and Ohio State, and you draw a line. Then it's Michigan and Penn State. I don't know if Iowa or Wisconsin are going to climb up into that next group or not, but there's already another line, and you've got a lot of teams. Indiana, you start with Indiana, but Indiana, Nebraska, Washington. I don't know what USC. Oh yeah, don't know what is going to. It's going to be a. It's going to be a little more. It's definitely more difficult because you have more teams that are capable of beating you. Doesn't necessarily mean you have more, national title contending teams. But
I tell you this, looking at the Big Ten, Iowa, if they can finally find an offense that can score, and they got a new offensive coordinator, Tim Lester, who was the head coach at Western Michigan, had success there, was with the Packers a year ago. He'll make them better as a play caller and things of that magnitude. But if they can find an offense that can score a little bit, their defense is lights out. I mean, Phil Parker's probably one of the better coordinators in not only the Big Ten, but the country. And the Iowa defense, I do believe, has a lot of starters back from last year. So that's going to be a team to watch as a potential team that can, knock at the door. And now the mindset is, the Big Ten championship is everyone's goal, but you want to be in a position to get into the 12-team playoff, the Big Ten may have 4 teams especially if 4 of them were within the top 12 in the country. So there's another added bonus in there when you talk about the conference, is finding ways to get a place in that top 12.
Absolutely, and I think you're going to see, as we go by for the next few years and things start to shake out with the new teams, I think there's going to be kind of more of a rotating situation. Ohio State, I mean, they're going to be up there. It's Michigan, like I said, Michigan's got problems.
Yeah, they got big problems.
Michigan's got issues. And as a matter of fact, it just came out earlier, Harbaugh has been slapped with a 4-year show cause, which that's great and all, but what the hell? He didn't give a crap. That's like when Kelvin Sampson had a show cause. Okay, I'll go to the NBA. All right, I'll go to the NFL.
Yeah. Well, and if he had ever come back and want to coach in the NCAA, you could hire him, but then you have to suspend him for 1 full year because he has a 1-year ban. If he chooses that. Of course, he, in his presser the day before this was announced, he says, "I apologize for nothing." So He
See,
did
that's
violate.
the most arrogant
Well,
thing
that's
he could have
Harbaugh.
said. He just slapped everybody in the face. They cheated their ass off. I mean, cheated. What are you going to ignore that? That's the thing. Those people don't get called on this stuff. I mean, is this getting called on it? Technically, yeah, but there's an out. So technically, no.
Well, Michigan ultimately is now an offender that's on their file and has a level 1 violation of NCAA rules that not only affects the football program, but it does affect the athletic department. But here's the other thing that has not come out yet. Harbaugh's show cause was for recruiting violations during COVID. He had impermissible contact with recruits and things of that magnitude, but that was during the COVID era. You still have this Connor Stallings sign stealing, scouting in person gate,
which was a very, very elaborate, planned out scheme with lots of players, including the current head coach. I don't mean players, lots of players involved is what I meant. Parties, lots of parties involved, including the current head coach, Shannon Moore,
who had 150 individual text messages with Connor Stallings that he deleted from his phone and did not own up to it until the NCAA took the phone and was able to reestablish those text messages. So he was deceitful on one level, and now these 150 text messages with the main participant in this scandal is in potential going to have some issues prior to the season ever starting. And that means that Michigan now is a repeat offender in their football program, which also carries a stiffer penalty and fine. What that will be, who knows? I won't be surprised if Shannon Moore has a 1 game or 2 game suspension at the beginning of the year. But you've got this big black cloud over the national champion football program at Michigan, and now you've got all this going on around you, and you're trying to get football going, and now they don't know where they stand with that. And it also affected Central Michigan, of all places, because I believe one of their assistants was just fired 2 weeks ago because
I wonder how
he was arranging for Stallings to be on the field at Michigan State when Central Michigan played him a couple of years back. So this guy raises to the pinnacle of Division I coaching, and he gets fired because he does something that he knows he shouldn't do. So there's a lot of things that are going to come about here in another 3 to 4 weeks. And I do believe that Michigan and Shannon Moore are going to have some issues. And if I was the NCAA with all this, they need to slap a 1-year ban on them from participating in the college playoffs. In the Big Ten championship game, because that's what they have control over. The playoffs they don't, because that is run by a different entity. But there needs to be stiffer penalties for them than just you can't have this guy or that guy go on the road recruiting, blah, blah, blah. There's got to be stiffer penalties.
Well, there's got to be penalties that matter because, giving Jim Harbaugh a show cause is a serious penalty. It's not really, because he doesn't have to serve it.
Right.
And I was reading something earlier and someone made the comment, getting this, I see this as being like getting a letter from your high school when you're in college. I'm like, okay, that's just stupid. You're being asinine and ignoring the fact. But what else are they going to do? They're not going to admit failure. They're not going to admit wrongdoing. He has been the cheatingest coach since he got to Michigan. Remember when they were doing these road trip things? They take the team on the road. That got banned because they're like,
he found a loophole to take them overseas.
Ever since he got to there, he's had to, which I guess trying to find the ways to win that's okay, but it makes a huge difference when you're going outside of lines that are set that you can't break. And so
it'd be nice if the NFL would recognize that there's an issue here with a coach that's in the NFL coming from the NCAA that violated the code of ethics and sportsmanship. And to me, the NFL, in some respects, should address that.
Yep.
Just from the standpoint, just from the standpoint of, just like you said, these guys escape and go to the NFL or, NBA or however you want to look at it, and, don't have to pay the penalty, so to speak. So anyway, but yeah, Michigan's going to have some problems, but the Big Ten as a whole, you're looking to get into the top 12 so that in the country, so that you can get into the playoffs. And it's not unheard of that they will take as many teams from one conference if they hit the criteria of being in the top 12. And we were talking about IU's defense and what is all in front of Coach Haynes and that group. I think the biggest question there is depth, and they cannot afford injuries on that side of the ball, especially within their top D-line room, because that's where you could see some drop off.
Absolutely. So what is your prediction? What do you think right now? And I don't mind going out on a limb with things, which I try not to as to do it too much, but as long as the information there's enough information to make an educated guess or whatever you want to call it. But looking at the schedule, knowing what you know about Cignetti and the staff, what they have, the talent that they have brought in, what are your thoughts on how this season goes?
Wins loss wise, I do think there's a pathway to 8 wins, but that's going to take a couple big wins over teams that maybe Indiana has not beaten in the past or within the last few years. With that, it's not unforeseeable that 7-5 looks like a good landing spot in my mind on the schedule with everything. So if they can stay healthy through the entire year, and not have the major losses where you lose somebody for an entire season or things of that magnitude. Now everybody's going to get beat up, and that's just college football. But if this team can stay healthy, it is not out of the questions that you could see them win 8 ball games, because I do think they'll get better each and every week with their system and the players and things of that nature, especially on defense. That's going to be the toughest job for Brian Haynes. Brian Haynes' toughest job is not doing more than what his kids can handle on defense, and not putting him in a spot where you get paralysis by analysis, and it limits the kids playing at full speed. That's going to be his challenge because of what he's got, and he's got to evaluate it within the next 30 days. But I do like his philosophy defensively. I do think that they have a defense that can maybe create turnovers, and that's going to be a key component as well. Offensively, they have to find what we call explosive plays down the field, at least 3, if not 5 or more a game. And that way, that gives you a better chance of winning. Your odds go up exponentially. And so in a long round winded answer, Jim, 8-3, 7-5 are not out of the realm of possibility. And realistically, I think 7-5 is a good landing point.
Bingo. That's my rock bottom, to be honest with you. I'm like, I can't see them not winning or not going 7-5. I go 6-5 or 6-6 would be a little surprising to me, but not winning 6 would be more than shocking to me. I don't see that as even a possibility unless something like you mentioned were to come along. Michigan had 13 guys drafted to the NFL last year record. So that's another thing. You're like, okay, I know they have a lot of talent, but they just lost a crap ton of talent. Their entire right side of their offense, their quarterback, their running back. So they've lost just so much. And I just don't know about the stability there with all that's going on right now. Yeah. And so who knows? That's a long time from now, 3 months away, but that could be a unique opportunity.
Well, like I said, you've got 2 teams in the Big Ten that I think could be kind of the dark horses. And I'm going to call Penn State a dark horse because they haven't accomplished what they need to accomplish under Franklin. But their defense is loaded coming back. Their offense, returning quarterback, their running backs are talented as any running backs in the country. There's 2 of them there. Their question mark is going to be at wide receiver in terms of playmakers. But if they, just like Iowa, if they can put those pieces of the puzzle together, those 2 teams in the Big Ten can be dark horses, meaning those are the ones that can ultimately maybe knock off Ohio State or, knock off the Michigans of the conference. So it's going to be a fun year in the Big Ten. That's all with all the new additions and all the different characters that are in the Big Ten, including Sig. We'll find out real quick. And
all the new games, new locations.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year in college football all over the country because you've got the dynamics of the SEC as well as the Big 12 and also the Big 10 with the expansions of teams and such. So I guess I would say strap in and hold on because it's going to be a rocket ship from start to finish.
Absolutely. And looking forward to it is I. Hey, we've got Coach Shannon Griffith with us here on this Thursday. We're talking some football at the moment. We'll do that a little bit more as I can probably talk him into staying one more segment. Bob Kravitz not able to be with us today. He had to we'll have to talk about his poor cat tomorrow. He's taking him to the vet. So, but we've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from the Rusty Gator. It's down in Bedford. The great Cajun cuisine. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in you getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty at cheryl@indyhomepros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@indyhomepros.com. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com. That's mystonecrestliving.com for more details.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser.
Looking for someone to cater your next corporate event, family reunion, or tailgate? To some, a garnish may be nothing more than just a decoration put last on a plate. But in Bloomington, catering starts with Garnish Catering. Serving all of Bloomington and surrounding areas, Garnish Catering is waiting to help make your next event one to remember. Planning a great event shouldn't have to be stressful. Whether we quote you just for catering or a total event package, you can trust that you're making the right choice with Garnish Catering. Visit garnishcatering.com. That's garnishcatering.com. Garnish Catering is a proud partner of WOW Food Group.
In the market for a new or used vehicle? Well, nobody beats the prices and selection of Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. Right now, get a brand new Honda with no payments for 90 days. That's right, 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment-free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Thursday. Glad to have you with us. Coach Griffith's with us and talking some football right now, college football. We're 3 weeks from week one from this Saturday. Indiana opening up the season against Florida International, Purdue. I can't remember who they opened with, but dude, Purdue has an absolute brutal schedule. I know that 2 of their 3 non-con games are against Oregon State on the road and at home against Notre Dame. So they've got one gimme.
They play Indiana State week 1.
That's a nice little punching bag. But
And week 2, I think it's then they've got a brutal schedule because they go Notre Dame and Oregon State, and so they got a nice little.
They did Ryan Walters no favors. I will tell you that. I'm talking by Purdue by scheduling Notre Dame and Oregon State. I'm like, dude, you're giving yourself no buffer. You're not in the big. I think they forgot they're not in the Big Ten West anymore.
Yeah,
it doesn't get to work that way, and. That's probably one of the big reasons why Purdue has been picked to finish last in Ryan Walters' second year. That can't be a great sign for Purdue admins and Purdue fans alike. Not that you expect them to be up at the top, but man, you want you expect a bump in year 2. This is a drop in year 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have some talent there. I mean, he's done a good job in the recruiting arena, and offensively, I like their scheme and what they do. They just got to put it all together as an offense. But, coming out of the gates, you got, Notre Dame staring down at you from South Bend, and they're going to be, I think they've got them in the top 10 again this year. And I do think they're going to be a much improved team from that standpoint. But their whole thing is how can they get through those first 4 or 5 weeks of the season without getting banged up a lot and having a chance to have a run towards the end of their schedule. So that they can, survive and maybe get themselves into a position where they can win that magic number of 6 games. So, their schedule, I don't think overly lightens up either, even after they get through those first few games. So, it's not going to be potentially a fun year in Boilermaker land, but Coach Walters is a good football coach. He's a sound defensive fundamentalist, and they've got the ability as a staff to really put things together, and if they get on a roll, man, look out. They can run some wins together. And more importantly, at the end of the year, that's the most important game on the Indiana schedule, because that's the game that Indiana has to win.
Okay, the other day I was asking this. Indiana's got a funky schedule this year because they've got 8 home games. Partly because they bought out of the Louisville game, and to me now that is a very, very wise thing. They're going to make that money back easily, and so not only that, they're going to put themselves into making the team better, playing against a less talented team to as they try to, as Signetti is rolling with this program along. So I think that was very smart on their part. Now putting yourself in this position that Purdue's in, man, you're not asking for success there in the early onset of a coaching's tenure. You're not helping him a bit. And I know that he had nothing to do with this schedule, but schedules can be altered quickly. We've seen now. They used to all act like it would take an act of God and a congressional amendment to the Constitution to change a schedule. That game's scheduled. Well, I know it's 8 years from now, but it's on the schedule. It's like it was set in gold stone or something. And then, but yet when COVID came, what happened? Let's just create a whole new schedule, all of it. And then the Pac-12, okay, well, let's just redo the schedule again. They redid the entire schedule like it snaps of fingers. And so, yeah.
Well, it's also interesting.
Done themselves a favor.
It's also a little interesting that they dealt a pretty bad hand from the Big Ten in terms of who they're playing in the Big Ten as well. So that's never an easy thing when you have that with you. But I think when we were at the Big Ten Media Days, I think you were there with me, and we were talking with Scott Dolson, the AD, and he gave this is important because I think it's important for the listening audience out there to understand. Scott Dolson does have a pretty good mind when it comes to schedules and how to set them up for success. And that's why they bought out of the Louisville game, because he wanted to make sure, prior to Sig even coming on board, I believe, that the new coach could have a chance in those first 6 weeks of the season, 5-6 weeks in the season, to have an opportunity to get his feet firmly planted in the turf with a new team, a new scheme, but ultimately have the potential for early success. And I think you got to give credit to Scott on what he's done in the face of not only the schedule, but the NIL game that Indiana has been doing very well with, in terms of where they're at monetarily, and then, of course, setting up this schedule for the staff and players to, not face, 3 top 25 teams within the first, 3 weeks of the season. So I think that's been beneficial from that standpoint. But let's not get over our skis here a little bit. We've also seen an Indiana team with a early, easy on schedule struggle against team like Akron and, those type of games where you got 2 different results there early on. But again, I think you got to give Scott a lot of credit in that arena.
Well, absolutely. He's the guy that sets it and sets it up. And I think that after a couple of years, I know that schedules are set, but I think that you'll start seeing Indiana eventually add another Power 4. Another power. There are no longer Power 5 conferences. It's like, it just went P4, P5 sounds just much better.
regardless, I think that Indiana might add I guess I shouldn't say a power. They don't have to add a power. Like you can just go. This would be a great opportunity to add. And maybe not every year because they probably wouldn't do it every year. Kentucky wouldn't do it every year. But man, wouldn't it be great to see that series renewed?
Absolutely. And just like Purdue got the Notre Dame game back into the fold, irregardless of when, where, and how, but that's always been a kind of one of those traditional games that we've seen. But Indiana and Kentucky, that would be a real good game to see back in the fold with the history of that game and how it's been a part of both schools' history, not only football but basketball wise. I do think you're going to see in my opinion, they got to get out of the Western Illinois and the Indiana States on the schedule. I just, again, I get it and understand it. It only helps you in one facet. It may get you that extra win you need to get the 6 games on the schedule, but
you're halfway there. But that's because, and again, I point this out, the Big Ten plays 9 conference games. So you only have an opportunity to play 3 non-conference games that you get to schedule. SEC, they have 4 non-conference games. So they can schedule 4 cupcakes if they wish. Now, I'm not saying all the teams do that. Most of the bigger teams play at least one other Power 4 opponent, I think. But if you go down the schedules, every time somebody says something about like Indiana's schedule, I'm like, well, wait, stop. I go, let me pull up Kentucky. Let me pull up Arkansas. Let me pull up somebody from the SEC, or let me pull up Alabama, and I'll show you. They're playing Troy, and they're playing so and so. They're not gonna, with their non-con games, they're not going to go out and schedule USC and Notre Dame and Utah and teams like that to fill that non-com slate. Now, adding one, the SEC should be mandated to do that, which they might be, not by the NCAA, but by themselves. But
you're gonna, I think what you'll find, and you may agree with this or not, but with the new playoff setup, going with top 12 teams, strength of schedule will play a big part of that. And if you have a weak non-conference schedule in some respects, if you're looking to be that 3rd or 4th team from a conference, that could be the deciding factor of who gets in and who doesn't when it comes to that. Or especially if they expand it to 16, which I think there's talk of doing already, you're going to have to be aware of those situations of strength of schedule. You just can't go out and schedule Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Tennessee Martin and expect to have a strength of schedule that stacks up against schools that play other Power 4 institutions.
Yeah, and I forgot what I was going to say, but Brian says IU will win a few games because the opponent won't be ready for 6 play calling, which keeps D's guessing, and the more they guess, the more he's got them. There will not be film on IU for UCLA. Well, that's not true.
No, they'll have it
prior, but they're not going to. I don't expect them to show much of anything in those games. They shouldn't have to. You should just be able to flex, do some basic things, and run the game. That's how it's always written on paper. Doesn't always go that way, but if that is the case, so that's but that's the same way for UCLA. No film on them right now because they've got an entire new everything. Washington, same with them. I guess you can watch Arizona and get a taste of that. Well, you can watch JMU and get a taste of Indiana, which is what you would have to do. It's the same way at a lot of different schools. So for that reason alone, it's going to be a little bit interesting. So there's
you got that going for you, which is nice. Wyatt says Coach Sig has not coached a game at IU yet, but he has done everything right so far. He said all the right things and has rallied most of the fan base around him. Yeah, it's easy to get. I think it's easier to get people fired up and the other way, but for a team coming off of a 1-8 Big Ten year, I've never seen such a buzz.
Yeah.
So
I wish they'd come out, and I don't know, and maybe you do know, where their season ticket sales are, and whether or not they've seen a jump.
I don't know that they've released that information, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And if I had to guess, I would say that there's probably a little bump, but not the bump that would match this pre-season buzz.
Yeah.
Because Indiana fans are still in the
wait and see.
I'll believe it when I see it kind of a deal. I'm not every. I think it's the majority. There's a minority that they're all in. And I know that with my positivity for this upcoming season, again, I don't take it for me being a homer, because everybody usually says I'm negative all the time. So I'm throwing you a curveball, man.
You've drank the Kool-Aid.
Hey, we've got to take a break. Coach Griff, appreciate you, my friend.
You too, my man. Have a great day, and we'll catch you later.
You're welcome to stick around, because everyone's having a bad day, so you're welcome to stay along.
I got to do that thing they call a day job.
Yeah. All right, brother. Coach Shannon Griffith is joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and we're back with more right after this.
If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in you getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty at cheryl@indyhomepros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@indyhomepros.com. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf Community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com. That's mystonecrestliving.com for more details.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser.
Looking for someone to cater your next corporate event, family reunion, or tailgate? To some, a garnish may be nothing more than just a decoration put last on a plate. But in Bloomington, catering starts with Garnish Catering. Serving all of Bloomington and surrounding areas, Garnish Catering is waiting to help make your next event one to remember. Planning a great event shouldn't have to be stressful. Whether we quote you just for catering or a total event package, you can trust that you're making the right choice with Garnish Catering. Visit garnishcatering.com. That's garnishcatering.com. Garnish Catering is a proud partner of WOW Food Group.
In the market for a new or used vehicle? Well, nobody beats the prices and selection of Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. Right now, get a brand new Honda with no payments for 90 days. That's right, 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment-free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door.
This segment is brought to you by Freethink Apparel.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. We're flying through the week. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate you as always. Just finished up with Coach Griffith, and Travis Miller will join us here in this hour as well, as we'll talk and see what's going on up in West Lafayette, and we'll talk more throughout the Big Ten and whatever a little nice little knickknacks we can come up with that's been going on. And it's weird. It's a slow time, but it's not a slow time. It's a slow time because we're on the. It's not a slow time. You can't even say it's a slow time. My God, we've got college football practice going on. We've got the Olympics that are winding down. We just finished the TBT. Let's see. Baseball is still in at full throat. NFL camps are going on. The WNBA is only on a hiatus, waiting to get right back at it as soon as the Olympics conclude. We've had something you haven't noticed. We've had a break from Caitlin Clark-Lash. And I'm not saying that as a negative towards her, but I got to be honest with you. It's nice opening things up to read and, researching things, and it not everything be about Caitlin Clark. I'm sure she enjoys the hell out of that, not being everything about her. I cannot imagine having to deal with that every day, but it's well deserved, and looking forward to the resummation and see what the Fever can get done this year. Brian says Caitlin is still asleep. She's on a 3-week nap. Have to be. You got to give the body a rest. And what a unique, this won't happen next year for the WNBA. This is a very beneficial thing, to be honest with you, especially for teams that may have a player that is an integral player, part of their team that may be going through some nickel and dime injuries or whatever the case may be, to get healed up and get back. I mean, 3 weeks is a good chunk of change to be able to rest the body as an athlete. So there's going to be some players that come back better for it. Brian says she's real good about taking care of the kids. As in regards to Clark signed a bunch of autographs for fans recently. She's no dummy either. I mean, she is not trying to create anything. It has all happened naturally through her play, through her everything we've seen, and she doesn't have to do anything different. She's right in the lane where she's supposed to be. Wyatt went to the Fever game versus the Liberty. The buzz was incredible, he said. Been to Pacers games before with less people and less buzz. Line for the team store after the game reached all the way to the other end of the concourse. It's real. I mean, it's real. It doesn't matter how you want to compare her or whatever. It's real. I mentioned several weeks back, I found myself on a couple of occasions sitting down to eat at late, 8 o'clock, whatever, and a WNBA game would be on. It'd be the Fever. I'm like, oh, I turn it on. I promise you, a year ago, that would not have been the case. I would have just scrolled right on by it. So looking forward to the return of WNBA play, but we are closer to football, baby. Travis Miller from the Boiler Upload, he'll be joining us here, and we'll talk more Big Ten and see what's up with the boys in West Lafayette. Like I said, the Boilers, who, man, love them or dislike them, it doesn't matter. They have a wicked schedule this year, and Ryan Walters has got a chore on his hands. And I can't imagine, dude, you're coming into this program where it was kind of decimated when Jeff Brom left. You know, a lot of talent left, as is the case with most of the time that stuff happens. And he has been trying to rebuild that, which I would like to see. There's so many schools. I wonder, out of the Division I football teams, maybe just in the Power 4, the P4 conferences, how many coaches are in their first or second season? And I ask that because just on Indiana's schedule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of the 9 conference games that Indiana's playing, virtually it's every team with the exception of Ohio State and Maryland, have a coach that is in his first or second season. That's remarkable and crazy. I see that someone asked about Greg Doyle, and I didn't mean to skip over it earlier, that he his recent questions to Signetti and asking what, hey man, Greg Doyle is Greg Doyle, which I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying he's a different cat. I think he sees things differently. He's a different kind of a writer. So he thinks of things that I wouldn't think of to ask. Part of that as a writer, you try to have an angle. If you can go with one and then you ask questions to fit into that narrative. But I don't, it must be working for the Star. So yeah, I have no dog in the fight. I could care less. But that's that. Fred pointing out that the USA has total medals of 95, which is a complete 33% increase of the second place China. Also, they lead the gold only 27-26 versus China. Yeah, China is going to battle them for those gold medals. Russia, not a part of this equation, baby. Oh, there you go. We're right on par with each other, Brian. He says the same thing. Russia is not a part of this deal, which is good. It's just the cheating in this stuff is mind-boggling. And for all the people that are like, oh, I wish they'd go back to college players. That's not how it was to begin with. It was for the United States, and it was mainly in basketball that this is being thought of. Because all the other athletes from the other countries, they may not have been considered professional. They were club players. But those club players in those countries were, in essence, professional. So this is how it's always been. Why not see the best of the best? And I've got to tell you, you should enjoy the basketball side of things, because this is the only time you're going to get to see an NBA All-Star game that matters with an All-Star team, because that's what this Olympic team is. It's a group of All-Stars. It's the United States All-Stars against whomever else is All-Stars. But in the All-Star game, it's not about the game.
They're going to score 200 points because nobody's guarding anybody, because nothing matters, because nothing is on the line. Well, this is different. There is something on the line. That gold medal representing the country, all that stuff, and winning and not being the team that loses in the Olympics. It matters. So you're getting to see these guys play at the high level that you'd like to see them play in the All-Star game. So I think it's been great for that. The golf was like that. The tennis was like that. I just think it's a very unique thing when you take like golf majors and you move them to an Olympic event. Wow, that's pretty cool. It's just, this has been a pretty good Olympics, in my opinion, as far as watching and storylines. Team USA women rugby team winning a medal. There's just been a lot of good things. Cole Hocker, the kid from Cathedral High School, upsetting the two favorites in the 1500 and winning gold with an Olympic medal or an Olympic gold medal. So crazy. So awesome stuff there. Brian says the 3x3 women said they were screwed by the officials because the Olympics doesn't want the United States winning that too. Well, I didn't see it, so I'm not going to comment on it. Five Last says LeBron's got to win this one. His Olympic record is trash. There's no way they're getting upset. I don't even see that as a possibility. Fred says men's Olympic basketball is must-see TV. Yeah, it's just, like I said, you're watching a group play together that you will not get the opportunity to see until the next Olympics. And it won't be this group. LeBron's, which is very, very creative. Five lefts. LeBron's won't be on that next team. Steph Curry probably won't be on that next team. KD probably won't be on that next team. I'm trying to think of the older guys because that's 4 years away. So it's going to be a new group, a new all-star team that you would get to watch. So looking forward to seeing the conclusion of that. What finalized events are you looking forward to seeing come to a close? Wyatt, commenting on the Andy Moore Honda hotline, says he hopes major league players play in it and not college players. Well, yeah, you better, because I got news for you. The DR, Cuba, Cuba, do they even send representatives to the Olympics? Trying to think of, there are several Central American countries that are just dominant. And it is funny how not many sports are dominated by a region of the world. Baseball, one of those, with the exception of China and Japan and the Korean countries, how they've adopted baseball and really become good at it. I mean, obviously the best player in the game right now, and possibly will go down as one of the greatest players of all time by the time his career ends, out for the Dodgers, Ohtani. It's weird how European countries have not adopted that sport. I mean, if you think about it, they do basketball. Boom. Okay. They're in basketball now. They play basketball. Football is a very, very slow moving sport over there, but it is growing. But that's mainly because of the efforts of the NFL. Whereas, say, basketball was a more natural, organic growth of the game. Fred says that the Brownsburg, Indiana woman wins gold in cycling. Chloe Dygert, another Indiana Olympian. Isn't that crazy? And the amount of Olympians that Indiana has sent, the state of Indiana, whether through residents or natives or collegians, awesome. Caleb's pointing out LeBron is third in Olympic scoring with 2 gold medals. So his record does not seem to be all that bad. And just found out also
There's a fishing lure down there in Florida called LeBron's. Got to have one of those, brother. You're gonna have to send one of those in. That's pretty funny. But I think Five Lefts needs to order that and get one of those so he can keep it in his tackle box. But that's pretty funny. I like that. And actually, the name is pretty funny. I like that too. Brian said they named it after him on purpose. Ha! So you got that going for you, which is nice. Olympic closing ceremonies coming up this weekend. Basketball coming to a head. I think, what is today's Thursday? So the semifinals are tonight, right? Is it the semifinals game? And are they playing France or Germany? I know that France and Germany played. I did not get to see the conclusion of that. And so therefore, I have not seen who their opponent is going to be yet. So Olympic basketball is going to be at center stage. They're over there for one of the longest periods of time too. Swimming's done. Boom, they can leave. Other sports are done. I wouldn't want to be done if I was an Olympic athlete. I'll be honest with you. I'd want the whole run of the deal as long as I could stay there. Some people want to get back. But looking at the standings for the women in Group C, the United States, they lead that group with 6 points, 3 wins, 0 losses. Germany is 5-2. Belgium is 4-1. Japan 3-0. No, I'm sorry, they're 0-3. Belgium is 1-2. Germany is 2-1. So the United States, along with Spain, the only 2 undefeated teams on the women's side. And on the men's side, in Group A, Canada, even though they lost, they're still at the top of their group with a 3-0 mark. Germany, I thought Canada was beaten by someone. Germany is 3-0. United States 3-0. That's not right. Have they played more than 3 games? Is this like a not up to date or something? Drive me nuts. But looking forward to see. And another thing, those last couple of games, it should be ratcheted up a little bit because the goal is coming. You're getting closer to the end line. The goalposts are in sight. That gold medal is in sight. And like we saw with the South Sudan game, they got a little taste of South Sudan the first time with that 1-point win. And now they played them again. And they stuck with them for a little bit. And the Team USA just flexed and said, yeah, no, that's it. And I think that's not how it will be the remainder of the way, because I think these final two games will be a load. But I say Team USA wins by 20 tonight and 12 in the gold medal game. So you got that going for you, which is right. Nice. Nick pointing out that Cuba has a wrestler who just won his 5th straight gold medal in the 130-gram weight class. Wow. That's 20 years, people. That's a 20-year span, unless when did they switch the Winter and Summer Olympics used to be at the same year, and then they split them up so they were 2 years apart, so they keep it more spread out. But that's a 20-year period. If this is the every 4 years deal, that's remarkable. Because in a sport like that, you would think youth would mean more than about anything, but boy. Let's see, what is Caleb says a graduate of Penn High School won gold in the 110 weight class of women's wrestling. Well, there's you go. Another Indiana Olympian. Congratulations. And Brian says it's a mullet imitation swim bait. That's the LeBron's. A mullet imitation swim bait. Huh. I like to see a little fishing lure with a mullet going through the water. That would be a sight to behold. A mullet on a lure. What is it? Spinner mullet? Spullet? Is that what you'd call that? So, yeah, it will be soon time to bring back the whiteboard. As we're getting closer to pulling the fuse, baby. Talking about college football coming. I keep saying we're 3 weeks from this Saturday. 3 weeks. You better go out into the garage, clean up the grill, get all your supplies, make sure you got them, open up the tarp or whatever, kick the spiders out, make sure you've got your canopy, your chairs. Check it all, baby. It's that time of year. And I'm all in. I'm all for it. Is there anything better than that smell when you arrive to a football stadium? All the grills going on. It's the culmination of all those smells converging, and it's awesome. And you walk around, it's a different smell over here, and just somebody grilling some meat, someone just whatever the case may be. It's just an awesome place. Shocker! This is just in. The White Sox have fired their manager. So they let him get a win and break the streak and then fire him. What are you going to do? I mean, there's who survives a 21-game losing streak in baseball? Probably not very many people. It hasn't happened very much, but yeah, that's look forward to talking to Rick about that. And Brian says that mullet, it's not the same kind of mullet. I was semi-joking there. I didn't think that it had a mullet as it's going through the water, but that would be a great sight. Just think about that. Put that thought in your mind. Reeling that baby in and seeing that mullet just flopping in the water. But he's talking about the fish. Mullet the fish! Hey, we've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We got to take a break. We're back with more to keep you entertained and occupied on this beautiful Thursday, and we'll do it right after this break.
In the market for a new or used vehicle? Well, nobody beats the prices and selection of Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. Right now, get a brand new Honda with no payments for 90 days. That's right, 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment-free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door.
Looking for someone to cater your next corporate event, family reunion, or tailgate? To some, a garnish may be nothing more than just a decoration put last on a plate. But in Bloomington, catering starts with Garnish Catering. Serving all of Bloomington and surrounding areas, Garnish Catering is waiting to help make your next event one to remember. Planning a great event shouldn't have to be stressful. Whether we quote you just for catering or a total event package, you can trust that you're making the right choice with Garnish Catering. Visit garnishcatering.com. That's garnishcatering.com. Garnish Catering is a proud partner of WOW Food Group.
If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in you getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty at cheryl@indyhomepros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at indyhomepros.com. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. The Ugly Grouper, located on beautiful Anna Marie Island, Florida, is the place to be, and not just because they have unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. The Ugly Grouper is family-friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Marie Island, Florida. Tell them Indiana Sports Beat sent you. Go to theuglygrouper.com for more information.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com. That's mystonecrestliving.com for more details. This segment is brought to you by Freethink Apparel.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, here on this Thursday. You know, I haven't looked at the forecast today. I know last night it was absolutely unbelievable. High of in the low 80s today. That's very, very nice. Matter of fact, Friday, high of 80. 70s. Saturday and Sunday. What, pray tell, is going on? As a matter of fact, all the way through next Wednesday. Woo. Yeah, baby. Unfortunately, man, I was so fortunate again to get to go down to French Lick this week, and I'm grateful again to Brendan Sweeney, Dave Harner, the whole group down at French Lick. We played the die course for the media on the media days for the Corn Ferry Tour Championship coming to French Lick and the die course this fall in early October. Brought to you by United Financial Leasing. And that will be a fun time as well. I encourage you to go up and that would be you want to talk about a great place to watch a golf event? Holy smokes. When you're up on top of the hill in the mansion, you can just look out and see all those holes everywhere. The holes, I should say, as they go in all the different directions. You could sit up there with binoculars and probably watch a good part of the entire event and not travel around. That would be something. But looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being there again in October. Holy cow. So, but I had a good time playing out there. It was the hottest I've ever been playing around a golf. I'm going to tell you that straight up. There was 4 holes to play, and I would have, if I would not have been on the die course and been on such a prestigious, nice course, I would have probably packed it in on that day. It was that brutal. But it's such an honor to get to play there, and it's such a beautiful place. History, all the history and all whatnot that goes along with that. So looking forward to getting back down there. And speaking of that, we also have the Never Lose Hoop golf outing coming up on the 22nd. That is only 2 weeks from today. Oh my God, that scares the living daylights out of me. We've got 2 weeks left. So get signed up, get yourself a team, or sign up as an individual. It's only $125 a player. It's pretty much a standard scramble deal. But with this, you get lunch from Chick-fil-A. You get a sit-down dinner afterwards. And this is not hot dog. These are not hot dogs. This is good stuff. Salad, entrees, et cetera, et cetera. Silent auction, lots of IU memorabilia, and it's an absolute blast. Most importantly, it goes to an incredible cause, assisting kids affected by cancer in the area, in partnership with the Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County. Of course, Jordan Hulls will be there. Anthony Leal has a team. Lou Goody's playing. Ian Stevens is playing. And I don't even have the list of others that I know have been added to that. But just go to events.golfstatus.com. That's events.golfstatus.com. Got to say it 3 times. Events.golfstatus.com. That will get you there and get you what you need to get to sign in. You might want to be a sponsor. They've got some of the sponsorships left. The bigger ones are gone, but there's a $5,000. That's another thing for potential players. Not 1, not 2, but 3 opportunities for thousands of dollars on a hole-in-one. There's a $10,000 hole-in-one opportunity. There are 2 $5,000 hole-in-one opportunities. So there's just so much going on. If you can play, man, I encourage you to do so. It's going to be an absolutely great day, but more importantly, it's a great cause. And we've had JC Hulls on, we've had Jordan Hulls on talking about it as well. So looking forward to that. And holy smokes, like I said, it's 2 weeks from today. I need to send it to Don to see if we can get Don down here to play in that. I know he's usually busy preparing this time of year, but so let's see. Watching JMU offensive highlights, Brian is fun. He says he's hoping for some of the same fun with IU's new offense. Well, I don't see why you won't see that. As a matter of fact, I would be shocked if you don't see that very thing, because it's the same coaches with some of the same players, but even though it's not all the same players, it doesn't matter. That's what they're going to be running and calling and playing. So there's no reason you shouldn't see some of the same things, because actually there's probably more talent now on this Indiana team than there was on that JMU team. You've taken the best of JMU and the best of what Indiana had left and put them together. So that the sum of the parts are greater than the whole. Is that how that works? But I think Indiana's offense is going to be fun. That's the word, because it's an offense that keeps you on your toes, and they have the weapons. They have the weapons, whether it's the receiving core, the running backs room, or the quarterback. The quarterback does not have to be a Heisman candidate type quarterback, and especially in this offense. He just has to be competent and do the things, make the reads he needs to make, and hit his marks. If he does that, Indiana is going to do some things that I haven't seen done in football in quite a while. And I know that the run a few years ago was very, very incredible. But if this staff had that talent, buddy, that would have been fun. So we got that. How are some of the teams that we talk about going to be? Washington, for example. Indiana, I've mentioned this numerous times. Indiana is playing both teams that played in the national championship game the year before. I wonder how many times that has happened. I have to research that, because that should probably be kind of a rarity. Most teams, unless it's an SEC, all SEC year, that increases the possibility, obviously. But this is a unique situation with Washington coming into the Big Ten, and Indiana will play them at home, and they play Michigan at home. Not only do they play them both, they play them both at home within a span of 3 weeks. Just kind of a little tidbit of information. So now, if you want to get crazy talking about Indiana football, and I'm not prepared to go there just yet, but Indiana is going to, at least right now in my mind, they're the favorite against Washington. This is before there's been a snap of the ball. I get that. So that's why I'm saying right now. It'll be a home game for Indiana. And then when Michigan's in such turmoil, How is that? Will that affect them? It did not affect them last year. And I'll be honest with you, that national title should be taken away. How in the hell do you allow that national championship to stand? That's I keep using the Louisville thing because they had their title taken away in 2013. And that was because of a rogue assistant provided a stripper a couple times. I mean, I know some people are going to say, well, that's just absolutely horrible, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, guess what? The kid was probably old enough. If he was old enough to go into a strip club, then that kind of takes a lot of the salt out of that wound. But while that was against the rules, that's not out and out blatant cheating. What Michigan did was out and out contrived, planned cheating. Cheating. Jim Harbaugh was under such scrutiny because he could not beat Ohio State. I think he went 0-7 before he finally beat them, which coincided with the onset of the Connor Stallions situation. So take from that what you will. Obviously, it took them cheating their butt off to get the national championship. There are teams that can do it without cheating. UConn in basketball. I don't think that they've been cheating. Kansas in basketball, their last title, cheated their ass off and got away with it. That just irks me to no end. But if you notice, it's Kansas and Michigan. It's not Western Michigan. It's not another lower level team. It's a high profile program. So I just don't think the NCAA has the onions to do what it needs to do. They're doing all this stuff now because they know it's not going to have the impact. Michigan is not, to me, there's no way Michigan is a national championship contender. Not at this moment. And I'm going to be shocked if that changes with what's going on with their coaching staff, with what is going with the players that they lost. I have no idea what they're really going to be like. So there's that. What are you looking forward to at finalizing the Olympics? To my peeps on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. Let's get over there and hit those comments. And you're always free to join us on the Andy Moore Honda hotline as well. You have to you can do so by going through the YouTube link for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. That's all you have to do. Let's see. Wyatt talking about Caitlin Clark. Oh, I must have bumped it up. Yep, I went the wrong way. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about the Larry Bird mullet. It's Colson Montgomery and Charlotte Knights playing in a series at Louisville against the Bats this week. Oh, Colson Montgomery, the singer, and the Charlotte Knights playing in Colson Montgomery, the player, rather. Yeah, Louisville AAA team for the Cincinnati Reds. The one good thing about being in a market with especially with a AAA team and a lot of times a AA team, you get the opportunity to see guys on rehab assignments. And that's always fun for those people in that city. Yeah, Fred, I meant to talk about this. Schwarber goes off against the Dodgers last night. Not one, not two, but he hits 3 moon rocks into the Chavez Ravine as the Phillies get a win. 7 RBIs on the night for Schwarber. I saw him in a game before that, man. He struck out without ever swinging his bat, but he swung his bat last night, and much to the chagrin of the LA Dodgers. Good to see that. They've got to get it going on as we head down to this backside of the baseball season. Of course, we've got all of August yet and the beginning of September when things start winding down. Tanis says he's got his binoculars when he is watching the holes on the beach. Oh, boy, you got me on that one. And, yeah, there you go, Nick. Well, I missed it. Appreciate you, Nick. He was going to put up the link for the golf outing. The Never Lose Hoop, Never Lose Hoop, Never Lose Hoop. But you can go to events.golfstatus.com and get that taken care of. We've got more fun coming up this weekend. I'm gonna try to relax this weekend because it is literally maybe the last blank weekend you have, and we'll see how it goes from there. But man, the excitement is going to start building. When I'm still wondering what is attendance going to be like for Indiana football out of the gate. We'll talk about that. We've got to take one more break here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Appreciate each and every one of you being with us. We've got more coming up. Back with it right after this. Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. Proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse, from hearty proteins to fresh salads. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo code RADIO20 and get $20 off of your first order.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf Community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com. That's mystonecrestliving.com for more details.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouth-watering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Looking for someone to cater your next corporate event, family reunion, or tailgate? To some, a garnish may be nothing more than just a decoration put last on a plate. But in Bloomington, catering starts with Garnish Catering. Serving all of Bloomington and surrounding areas, Garnish Catering is waiting to help make your next event one to remember. Planning a great event shouldn't have to be stressful. Whether we quote you just for catering or a total event package, you can trust that you're making the right choice with Garnish Catering. Visit garnishcatering.com. That's garnishcatering.com. Garnish Catering is a proud partner of WOW Food Group.
If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in you getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty at cheryl@indyhomepros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@indyhomepros.com. In the market for a new or used vehicle? Well, nobody beats the prices and selection of Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. Right now, get a brand new Honda with no payments for 90 days. That's right, 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment-free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate you. As always, news on the football side for Indiana. Elijah Surratt, who I believe will be their leading receiver this year, one of the JMU transfers, selected to the Biletnikoff Award watch list. Pretty big deal. And I expect that you're going to see him stay on that list for quite a while. Once people get past Indiana on the chest. Surratt, who is ending his first season with the Hoosiers, has high expectations after a phenomenal campaign last year. James Madison, like I said, he's a 6'2" wideout. He hauled in 82 passes. 82. That is double, nearly double of what Indiana's leading receiver had last year. That tells you two things. One, this is going to be a much more fun offense, much more wide open offense, and a much more talented offense. So looking forward to that. In those 82 receptions, almost 1,200 yards last year, 8 receiving touchdowns, and 1 rushing as well. The one thing about a Cignetti offense that I have noticed, no single person seems to have a ton of touchdowns. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a very spread out. You don't know. That tells me that there's no tells. You know, they're not getting to the 10 and throwing to the tight end every time. They're not getting inside of the 10 and handing off to the running back every time. They're not getting to the 10 and throwing to just the wideouts every time. It is a cornucopia of plays, and that's another thing that's going to make that team dangerous. Kurt Cignetti's leading rushers at JMU last year, both coming over. They combined for like 1,100 yards rushing, but only like 7 touchdowns or 6. I forget what it is. Very few touchdowns for someone who had the ball that much. But that's because there are so many options, it gets spread out. The tight end, his tight end at JMU who transferred to Indiana, he had more touchdowns than the receivers, as many as they did combined. So that was, I think it is 6 combined for the running backs. So that just shows you that, hey, you don't know. It could be the tight end. It could be the running back. It could be the slot, wideout, quarterback. I mean, Indiana is literally going to have about 5 different options to go to from a scoring standpoint with this offense. And I think it's going to be fun because while it was a successful offense for Cignetti last year and obviously previously, he probably has more talent right now than he's ever had. And I say that only because you've taken pretty much the best of JMU. You've combined that with the best that IU had. And that's a greater mix. I said it earlier. The sum is greater than the parts. And that's what I believe here. But we have to see, can they get that all in sync? I know that they have previously, but now you've got more guys. I don't think you're going to get into a situation where guys are disgruntled because, hey, I'm not getting my touches, man. Because if you're playing on a Cignetti team, you know how it is. This is the way it's going to be. You never know. It could be your number. It may not be your number. But they may, if they can get that offense to where every time they have a red zone opportunity, they already have, like I said, 5 different options, whether it's the quarterback, a running back, a slot, a wideout, a tight end. There's 5 different options every time you're in the red zone. Okay. And then every play has multiple options. 3 to 4. We'll go with 4. So you've got 20, in essence, 20 different options each time you're in the red zone that you can use. And so that's a lot for a defense to chase. And that is going to benefit Indiana greatly, I think. And we'll see. You can listen to me be positive about them all you want. That doesn't make it happen until it happens. But for anybody that says I'm always so negative, how about that? Haven't been on this, but because that's what I think. I say what I think. I don't
contrive stuff, make it up, whatever. Yes, Brian, the NCAA is more than neutered. It's funny that you don't hardly hear from them until like after the fact cases. Oh, then now they're going to swell up, get the chest all full of air. Crazy. Let's see. Tanis is on the pity the foos. He's got to go to work. That's a terrible shame. Terrible shame. Let's see. Dave is in the process picking which game to attend. Dave, where are you coming down from or up from? Oh, there we go. He already said he's an 8-hour drive away. What home games do I think will be the toughest, but with the best possibility for the IU win? Boy, you didn't load that one up for me at all, did you? Well, I've got to be honest with you. That's a toss-up to me between two. And that is October 19th, after that 6-game opening stretch when they'll host the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Because I keep talking about there's a path to 6-0. Well, if they happen to hit that 6-0, there's a definitive path to 8-0, because after those 6 games, it's backed up with 2 home games. The first of which is against Nebraska, though. That's a game I'm going to put in that UCLA category. It's not on the road, but it's against a second-year coach at Nebraska who had success in his first year, but he has a true freshman quarterback that he has to use. So that one is going to be tough for me, because I expect Nebraska to be better on defense for sure, and I don't know about how the offense is going to go. They've been kind of offensively challenged in the last several seasons. The other pick is easy. It's November 9th, 3 weeks later, when Indiana will then host Michigan. And yeah, it's Michigan, but with all the turmoil that is going on there right now, I wonder how that is going to affect them. If it does, it did not have an impact on them winning the national championship last year. So, and that came late in the season, which one would think they had the ability to keep that stuff blocked out. I think that's impressive, but Jim Harbaugh did a great job of just teaching them how to ignore that stuff. It ain't true, guys. It's not true. So it was true, unfortunately, but they got away with it. That's that. But those are my 2 picks, Dave. The Nebraska game and Michigan. And Nebraska, I'll double down on Nebraska because that's also homecoming and Hoosier hysteria. So you get to double dip. If you're driving 8 hours, Dave, I think I just solved your question for you there, man. The weekend of October 19th, when Indiana hosts Nebraska, is also Hoosier hysteria weekend. So, and homecoming. That's whew. Yeah. Tough to not go to the Michigan game, but Nebraska will be a good one. I think it meets all of your criteria. I think it's going to be a tough game. It's a winnable game for Indiana. It's homecoming and Hoosier hysteria. How about them apples? Man, we're solving problems here today. We're solving problems. Brian says he would pick a team he hadn't seen before, probably the Washington game. Yeah, no one's seen that team before, though. So they're a completely new team. Nebraska has not been to Bloomington in several years. I'd have to pull it up. I mean, how long has it been? It's been a minute, right? Have they been in Bloomington since more than once since they joined the Big Ten? I'm having to go on memory here. David likes my pick. He says he thinks, the Nebraska game's just a great weekend. There's too much going on there to miss out on all that. But looking forward to it. And so great to have each and every one of you guys on today. I hope you have a great day. We're back tomorrow on Friday to bring it all at you again. We're getting closer to the weekend for you, and nothing more special than that. I hope you guys go out and have yourselves a great day. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.